my name is Bailey Hopper, and I will be conducting a case analysis for the company Krispy Kreme Donuts. So a little bit of a quick overview. Krispy Kreme Donuts was founded in 1933 by a man named Vernon Rudolph. He bought his first shop in Paducah, Kentucky, and from then moved to different states to sell donuts. He was in West Virginia and Tennessee, and he eventually moved the store to Winston-Salem, which is in North Carolina. The donuts were originally sold in convenience stores and grocery stores at first, but the amount of requests that he was getting from the customers to buy them hot and fresh led him to open a retail store so that he could sell freshly made donuts to these customers. In 1996, Krispy Kreme Donuts expanded out of the Southeast and they opened a store in New York City, and then 5 years later they opened a store in Canada. Since then, Krispy Kreme has expanded tremendously throughout the United States with no sign of slowing down anytime soon. So a SWOT analysis is one way of conducting a type of research to see where a business or a company stands. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A business can follow one of 4 strategies after conducting a SWOT analysis. So there are SO strategies, WO strategies, ST strategies, and WT strategies. And we'll explain what those are a little bit more as we go forward. So just obviously some strengths that Krispy Kreme Donuts has is that they're a very, very well-known company throughout the United States. They're one of the top sellers, I believe. They're kind of up there with Dunkin' Donuts and Tim Hortons, so they're very, very well known. They also released some coffee products in partnership with Keurig in 2014. So they had some coffee products of their own, but they did a deal with Green Mountain Coffee and Keurig, and they came out with their own K-Cups for Keurigs, and so that was really good. That allowed customers who maybe wanted Krispy Kreme Donuts coffee but may not have had like a retail store around them, and this allowed them to have that coffee at home. Another strength that they have is the expansion of their chain locations. There's actually a chart on my slide that shows a map of the United States, and it is color coded to show the amount of locations that Krispy Kreme has in each state, and it's a little bit hard to see, but let me just tell you, it is quite an amount. So as every business has their strengths, they also have their weaknesses. One major weakness that Krispy Kreme has is competition. This is with other donut companies. This is with the bakeries and the grocery stores and convenience stores that they sell their product in, and just any company, any local donut shop that sells the same product as Krispy Kreme is their competition. Local donut shops are very, very common everywhere in the world. There's always a local bakery shop or a local donut shop. So for those to be so prominent in the United States is it's competition, but because they're so small, Krispy Kreme doesn't necessarily worry as much about them. Another weakness that Krispy Kreme Donuts has is obviously they're very unhealthy. Donuts have never been known for being a healthy food. It's essentially fried dough with some sugar glaze on it and maybe some kind of cream filling or like fruity jelly filling. But with the amount of people that are getting more and more into health and living a healthy lifestyle, the risk of Krispy Kreme staying with such unhealthy recipes for their donuts could be detrimental in the long run if people stick with this healthy lifestyle thing. And another weakness that they have is they expanded too fast in the grocery and convenience stores. This one is a personal belief. I believe that if they would have started with the retail stores alone, where they made the donuts hot and fresh and served them hot and fresh like a bakery or a cafe does, and then moved on to selling them in retail stores, they may have done a lot better, and they probably wouldn't have as many stores that are unprofitable. So some opportunities that Krispy Kreme has to improve their company would be, one, to offer healthier products. This is not just donuts, they also have coffee products. So offering healthier products than what they're offering now could be a very, very big step for them. They could bring in a lot more customers that are, you know, a little bit more health conscious and more conscious about what they're putting into their body if they offered healthier recipes and ingredients. And another opportunity that they have is to expand to new markets. This could be foreign markets, this could be local United States markets. Honestly, as cliche as it sounds, the opportunities are endless. So some threats that Krispy Kreme Donuts has is the competition. So I mentioned a little bit earlier about the competition between other donut chain stores, as in Dunkin' Donuts and Tim Hortons, but also the bakeries in the convenience stores and grocery stores. A lot of people, I feel, would overlook that aspect of the competition because they just think of big chain corporations battling against each other, when that's essentially what is happening when Krispy Kreme sells their product in a Walmart or a Target per se. Because they sell their product in those areas and those areas have their own bakeries, they're competing with the product of that store. That store might price their donuts, 50 cents cheaper per donut, whereas Krispy Kreme, charges, the 50 cents more, and that might end up to be the reason that they don't make as much in sales from selling in those convenience stores and grocery stores. So some strengths, opportunities, strategies that they could use to improve their business would be incorporating more natural and organic ingredients into their recipe. This is a little bit easier said than done, but it is doable. They could replace, cane sugar or, any kind of corn syrups or things like that they use for natural sweeteners, such as stevia, which is derived from a plant. They could also use more organic flours or gluten-free flours and things like that, just to appeal more to the healthier crowd of their customers. They could also promote more around the United States. It's always a good thing to expand your business throughout the United States and anywhere for that matter. And I believe that if they promoted more throughout the United States, that they may have quite a bit of luck. They could also promote more in other countries. This one is also maybe a little bit easier said than done, just because it is a foreign market over there, so they have to appeal to the crowd of the people there, whereas their culture and things like that might be a little bit different than here in the United States, so they may not be as, gung-ho on donuts as we are in the United States, so they can't really push the, deals that they have about buy 24 donuts for, $12 or something like that, if that makes sense. So some weaknesses and opportunities that they have are to create a healthier recipe but maintain their budget. Just making sure I didn't skip one. So to create a healthier recipe and maintain their budget, as I stated before, it's a little bit easier said than done to incorporate more natural and organic ingredients in their recipes, just because if they're going to be buying more naturally derived ingredients and organic ingredients, it's going to cost them a little bit more than buying these processed ingredients that they have been buying. So when they are buying, sugar for 20 cents a pound, I have no idea if this math would be right, but if they're buying sugar for 20 cents a pound and stevia is 30 cents a pound, they're going to end up going over on their budget with the amount of sugar that they have to buy per month regularly, and then they're going to buy that in the stevia, which is a little bit more pricey. So that might push them over on their budget a little bit, but they could do a trial run to try and see if they could do a trial run and see if they sell enough of these healthier options, like the gluten-free or just more natural donuts, I guess, if that's even possible. But they could do a trial run to see if the sales do good, and if they do, then they can continue on with that and try to increase the amount that they buy for those healthier donuts. Another weakness opportunity strategy that they could use is to increase their sales before expansion. This one is, I don't think people would think about this. They would just think, oh, expand your store, expand your company. Everybody wants to expand their company. They don't think that if a company is, barely making enough profit to run their company and their business, they're not going to have enough money to open another chain store. So for Krispy Kreme to increase their sales before expanding their business would be very, very smart on their side, because if they have that extra money lying around to do that with, they won't have to worry about pulling out another loan or going into debt for it. Some strength threats strategies that they could use to also improve their business is, as mentioned before, to introduce a variety of healthy donut options, gluten-free. This also could be vegan. Although vegan doesn't necessarily mean healthy, this could just target another group of people that may not have been able to have their products before, because there might be eggs used to make the dough, or there might be milk used in the glaze and things like that. So for them to try to introduce a variety of different options for their customers could very well strengthen their company. Another option is, as I said before, to introduce healthier coffee options using natural sweeteners in them, such as stevia instead of sugar. And when you go to Krispy Kreme's website, you see a list of their coffees that they offer. I believe it's probably just in stores. I don't think you could buy a Frappuccino from Krispy Kreme at a grocery store. So their list of coffees online is obviously, just black coffee, coffee with creamer, things like that. But they also have lattes, they have Frappuccinos, cappuccinos, I think. And so kind of like a mixed coffee, if that makes sense. So those are usually known for having a lot of sugar and a lot of fat and just added things in them. They add, a lot of sugar. They'll have whipped topping. They'll have caramel or chocolate syrup drizzled in them. There's so many different possibilities for different combinations. So to introduce healthier ingredients for those as well would also be a very, very good idea for them, because some people enjoy coffee. They don't enjoy the amount of sugar that is in a Frappuccino or a latte or cappuccino, for instance. And another strength threat strategy that they could do is to partner with more convenient grocery stores. And I know I'm contradicting myself by what I was saying before about their competition with them, but if they partner with more convenience stores and grocery stores, that could increase their sales potentially. And I say that because, say that they are only partnered with Walmart. Texas has H-E-B, they have Buc-ee's, Trader Joe's is in quite a few states, I believe, but they're becoming more prominent. Target is almost everywhere now. So if they partnered with all of those other companies, that's 4 more companies aside from Walmart that they could add their product to and gain those profits and revenue from those stores. So, and obviously there are weakness threats strategies, and this goes a little bit back to what I was saying about closing those stores that don't make enough profit, if I mentioned that already. So those stores that, it's kind of a cliche saying, but you've always heard whenever stores are really, really slow for a day and they only have a couple customers for the day, a lot of times they'll say they don't make enough to pay the bills in one day. So that's kind of like, if the store, say a Krispy Kreme store, gets 3 customers in a day, and their total amount of profit that they bring in for that day is $150. The store had to be open that day to provide that $150 worth of product to those 3 customers. This also means that their electric bill went up a little bit. Any other bills like gas, water, anything like that went up a little bit. they had to pay the employee's salary that worked that day, and any training that an employee may have had that day, they also had to pay for that. So it's almost as if it's a waste of money for those stores that are very unprofitable. So in conclusion, I really think that if Krispy Kreme chose to eliminate those stores that don't make enough to operate, it would be in their best interest, just because the amount of money that could be saved is a substantial amount, and it could be used towards other areas of their company that may be lacking. They could use the money towards a better recipe for their product, or even use it to promote the product a bit more in foreign countries. And that is the end of my slide, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.